Good morning. This is Paul Payack. I'm President and the Word Man for the Global Language Monitor, based in San Diego, California. Today I am broadcasting from the desert of the American Southwest. It's August 17th, 2007. Today we're announcing the top political buzzwords impacting the 2008 political campaign in America. A buzzword is a word that is normally used, such as the word surge. You have a surge of tide, you have a surge of interest, a crowd at a rock concert surges towards the stage. But as it's used in terms of an American political and military strategy in Iraq during the Iraq War, it has become freighted with emotional content far beyond the norm. So the number one word this year for the 2008 presidential campaign thus far is the word surge. Number two is very unusual insofar as a person's name has become freighted with additional emotional content. It's very unusual to have a person's name freighted as such, but a generation ago the word Nixon did have that emotional impact. It's either pro or con. It's not a good impact or a bad impact or happy or sad emotions. It's just there's emotions attached to it, and that usually happens when there's something that is controversial, and so it becomes a word in the news. And what Global Language Monitor does, of course, is we track global English in particularly, and we look for different trends in words and in the language that impact various aspects of culture. And if you come to the site, you'll see all sorts of things, from fashion to Hollywood to technical terms and the like. That's a good one, technical terms that nobody quite understands but uses all the time. That's on the site. Okay, so number two is Obama. Obama Barack. He's a junior senator from the state of Illinois, and he's running for president. He's had quite a following, and he uses this facility a lot to talk to and have commercials and things of that such from supporters. And anyhow, Obama, the first name alone, is a number two political buzzword affecting the campaign. Hillary comes close, but she doesn't quite make it as a buzzword. Number three is YouTube itself. YouTube was not around during the last political cycle, meaning the 2004 presidential campaign. At that time, we used the PQI, and we were the only media analytical company that we foresaw, we predicted, and we had it printed in various media such as USA Today, that the words that were becoming hot and that were impacting the election, if you looked at them as a whole, they had a sense of moral valuation. This is not moral values in terms of conservative or liberal. This is that people looked at the issues through the prism of moral values. In other words, outsourcing American jobs overseas. This was not looked upon as a pocketbook issue, which is usually what people think, that you vote by your pocketbook. It was looked upon as a moral issue. Is it the right or wrong thing to do? And issue after issue were the same way. 13 of our top 20 words during the 2004 presidential campaign had something to do with this moral valuation, the moral equation that the electorate was sifting through. The next word, number four, is cleavage. This is the first time we've ever had a word that describes a woman's anatomy in any way appear on our list. But of course, Hillary appeared in a suit that had a neckline that was rather modest, but by political standards, in American political standards, it was revealing. And so cleavage has become a buzzword, and it's number four on our list right now. The list of words impacting the American 2008 presidential campaign thus far. Number 5 on the list is pardon. And it was a furor when President Bush pardoned Mr. Libby, one of his advisors, a very strong and trusted advisor, who was convicted of perjury. And he pardoned him. So again, the word pardon is controversial in almost every American administration, simply because people get pardoned that have committed crimes or are convicted of committing crimes, and there's always a controversial element. Most recently, when President Clinton left office, he pardoned scores of people, some politically connected, etc., and that cost to do. So the word pardon is there a lot. Gerald Ford's pardoning of Richard Nixon at the end of the in the mid-70s, okay, also was a quite controversial topic even today. The next on the list, number 6, is live Earth. And live Earth was chosen to represent the green element, the global warming, climate change controversy. And there's not much controversy insofar as that the world does seem to be warming. The question is it man-made? Is it a geological force, etc.? We take no stand politically one way or the other. I do note that 10,000 years ago, not 10 million years ago, but 10,000 years ago, New York City was under 5,000, 1 mile of ice. So things have been warming up for the last 10,000 years, but recently it seems that man has had a larger impact with fossil fuels, and so we chose live Earth as the word that stood for those things. We call it penumbra words. So you have the word, and then the penumbra about the words, the shadow around the words of other things that relate to the word, contribute to a word becoming a hot political buzzword. Okay, so that's number 6. Number 7 is subpoena. It was predicted when during the midterm elections. Okay, the midterm elections are the elections between the presidential elections, and Congress had a Republican majority. It was predicted that if the Democrats took over, it wouldn't be by many seats, so there'd be a majority, so they get the chairmanship of the various committees, but they wouldn't actually have a large enough majority to actually affect change, like about healthcare, economics, the Iraq War strategy, etc., as much as they'd like, so that there'd be a series, a great mass of hearings bringing down administration officials down to Congress and having them testify, etc. And so that is what has transpired, and subpoena is one way to get people to testify before a committee. And so subpoena is a hot political buzzword. Number 8 is interesting because it's the word Congress itself. And number 9, all-time low, kind of ties into number 8. For the last, say, 18 or 24 months, every time there was a poll, President Bush's standing would be a little bit lower, okay, in the eyes of the electorate. And so the articles always start out with President Bush, comma, all-time low, comma. And so all-time low has become an interesting phrase and a hot political phrase. That's number 9, but number 8 is Congress. Now it turns out that Congress is, guess what, at an all-time low, something like a positive rating of, say, 21, 23%, on that order. And so Congress itself has become a hot political buzzword, and it's looked upon almost as a dirty word. Okay, another and yet large category of C words that are dirty words. And finally, I don't recall. I don't recall is on the buzzword list because Attorney General Alberto Gonzales, when he was subpoenaed to testify before Congress, okay, which is at an all-time low, in opinion. Alberto Gonzales used a phrase, I don't recall, or phrases similar to that, 70 and thrice. Okay, 63 times he used that phrase in one day of testimony, over a several-hour period. And so that's pretty significant because usually the Attorney General of the United States does recall. Okay, they're usually very intelligent men or women, and they do recall. Anyhow, this is Paul Payack president and the word man of the Global Language Monitor. You can find us on the web at www.languagemonitor.com. And I should mention that during the 06 midterm elections, the top words were throws, quagmire, credibility, and global warming. Throws, like the throes of victory, the throes of defeat, quagmire, insurgency, global warming. Those were the words on the list, and so you can actually read the Times pretty well and see what the zeitgeist is holding in terms of language from the choices of these hot political buzzwords. Thank you.